Hi, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm planning on doing a full-length yoga class. Pretty gentle, kind of a mixed level, so feel free to work at your own pace, work at your own rate, using whatever modifications you need, adding on, leaving things behind, whatever works for you. Let's go ahead and begin standing. So we'll find ourselves in mountain pose, finding our feet hips width apart. So tracking right underneath those hips, the feet are pointing straight ahead. And we'll start just rocking that weight a little bit, getting the feel for the mat beneath us, for that solid, firm foundation beneath us. And just feeling that weight under our feet as we gently rock forward and back. And then maybe starting to take that weight side to side. And just feeling how the body shifts. And then coming someplace in the middle. Feeling the weight even across our feet. Front to back, side to side. And then taking our toes, lifting them up, spreading them out, and then trying to place them back down one at a time. And I know sometimes you get one or two toes down and then the rest just come down together, and that's okay. It gets easier in time. So feeling all of the toes connecting with the mat. And then noticing where we feel that weight on our feet. Noticing if there are any adjustments, any shifts we want to make. And then continuing to build our pose from the bottom up, feeling the arches of our feet lifting up. So we're firming up the fronts of those legs, feeling those kneecaps lifting upward toward the hips. Feeling those inner thighs drawing inward, imagining we were holding on to a block, maybe even holding on to a block. Feeling that lift in the pelvic floor. Feeling the rib cage lifting up off the hips, shoulders rolling back, palms facing forward, reaching down through the fingertips, up through the crown of the head. Holding strong and stable in our mountain pose. If we're comfortable, if it's okay with our balance, maybe letting the eyes close. Starting to come into our breath. Making that transition away from anything else that may be going on in our lives. Anything else that we were doing before we started our practice, anything that is yet to come after. Simply allowing our focus to be on the breath. In yoga, we breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, if that's comfortable. And allowing that breath to fill all the way down into the belly, up into the ribs, all the way up into the upper chest. And then as we exhale, squeezing the air out, chest, ribs, belly. Maybe bringing one hand to rest on the belly, the other hand on the chest. And just noticing as we breathe. And on the inhale, feeling the belly gently rise. Noticing the ribs expand out to the sides. Noticing the upper chest lifting slightly. Then as we exhale, that top hand settles, ribs knitting back together, belly softening. Seeing if we can allow the length of the inhale to match the length of the exhale. So it doesn't matter how long the breath is, whatever our count is, just allowing them to match. And now maybe making each one just a little bit longer than the last. And allowing our focus to follow that breath. Allowing it to be aware of the body, how the body is feeling throughout our practice today. And as we're ready, starting to link breath with movement. As we inhale, reaching the arms up overhead. Exhaling, hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Inhaling and reaching up long. Exhaling, hands floating back down to the heart. Moving with our breath at our own perfect pace with that breath. So you may be flowing a little bit more quickly or slowly than I. Just following that breath, noticing what may be going on with the body today. Noticing if we need to pick up the pace, we need a little bit more energy, maybe we need to slow it down. Noticing what the body may be telling us. Any areas that need a little bit extra attention or care. One more time, inhaling, reaching the arms up long, holding here, pausing, relaxing shoulders away from the ears, and then bringing the hands back to the heart. And again, pausing here, perhaps allowing the thumbs to touch the chest, noticing the heartbeat. Maybe setting an intention for our practice together today, whatever that might be. And then on the next inhale, reaching the arms up long, fingers reaching toward the ceiling, relaxing through their shoulders, settling them back down, pausing here. One more inhale. And as we exhale, allowing your left arm to float down by the side, relaxing through both shoulders, right fingertips reaching for the sky, left fingertips reaching down toward the earth, feeling that length all the way up the right side of the body. Inhaling, taking both arms up. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Taking it to the other side, inhaling and reaching the arms up long. Again, reaching all the way up, lengthening through the entire body, and then relaxing those shoulders down. Fingers continuing to reach to the sky, inhaling. Exhaling, right arm down. Relaxing through those shoulders, taking the left fingertips reaching up, right fingertips reaching down. Gaze can be down, maybe out toward the front, maybe up toward the top hand. And then inhaling, both arms coming up. Exhaling, hands to the heart. One more time, inhaling and reaching up. Exhaling, left arm down, right arm reaching high. Inhaling, taking both arms up. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Inhaling and reaching long. Exhaling, right arm down, left arm reaching. Inhaling up. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Moving into forward fold, inhaling and reaching the arms. As we exhale, arms sweep to the sides, softening through the knees. Flat back brings us forward. Coming into our forward fold, hands can be down on the floor, maybe hands onto the shins, gently releasing the head and neck. Nice soft bend in the knees. Head gently turning from side to side, maybe nodding yes. And then from here, we'll bend those knees deeply, coming to a flat back. Inhaling, sweeping the arms up. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Again, inhaling and reaching up. Exhaling, swan dive into our forward fold. Bending the knees deeply, inhaling, reverse swan dive. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Let's do that one more time. Moving at our pace with our breath. Starting to add in a chair flow. This time as we inhale, the arms reach, exhaling and sitting down into our chair. Relaxing through the shoulders, that chest is lifted, arms are long. If we're healing our neck or shoulders, we can bring the hands to the heart, maybe just bending the elbows. And then inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, sitting into that chair. Feet are facing forward. Knees and feet are hips width apart. And each time we sink down, that weight is back in the heels. Relaxing through the shoulders, chest is lifted. Let's do one more. And then this time inhaling and reaching up, exhaling, hands to the heart. From here, we're going to move into a little bit of work down to the floor. So finding the front edge of the mat if you're not already there. And then inhaling, reaching the arms up. Exhaling, swan dive coming into forward fold. This time bending the knees deeply, hands down to the mat, stepping one knee and then the other back, coming onto all fours. So in all fours, we find our wrists directly underneath our shoulders, knees underneath those hips, spreading those fingers out nice and wide. Starting to move through some cat-cows. As we inhale, that heart draws forward, shoulder blades drawing toward one another in the back. Crown of the head and the tailbone lifting toward the sky. With an exhale, tucking that tailbone under, pulling the belly button in toward the spine. Crown of the head and tailbone lengthening down toward that mat. Moving with our breath, inhaling and lengthening into cow, shoulder blades squeezing together. Exhaling and rounding into cat, shoulder blades now separating, opening through that upper back. If it feels good to stay in one position or the other, feeling free to do so. Otherwise, flowing with the breath. Noticing where we're feeling this. As we come into our cow, feeling that length through the spine. As we come into our cat, seeing if we can tuck that tailbone under, rounding through that low back. And if it ever gets to be too much for the wrists, we can always make fists. But being mindful to keep the weight in the fingers rather than the heels of the hands. Let's do one more in each position. And as we finish, finding ourselves in a neutral spine, crown of the head reaching forward, tailbone reaching back, starting to move through some spinal balance, extending the right leg straight back, keeping those hips level, so noticing that they're nice and level, flexing the foot, heel reaching toward the wall behind, toes pointing down. And then if and when we're ready, adding the opposite arm. Thumb up, pinky down, feeling the fingers reaching toward the wall in front. One more inhale. Exhaling and carefully placing hand and knee back down on the mat. Extending the left leg back. Again, leveling out those hips, flexing the foot, reaching through the heel. And if we'd like, adding the opposite arm. Shoulder drawing away from the ear, fingertips reaching toward the wall in front. And then placing hand and knee back down on the mat. Flowing with the breath, inhaling as we reach out long. Exhaling, lowering back down. Creating dynamic tension, that feeling of being stretched in opposite directions. So they say that the most important part of this pose, this exercise, is the transition point. So seeing how much stability we have, how much control. And remembering we can always use fists if we need for those wrists. We'll do one more on each side. And then as we finish, sinking back into our child's pose, allowing those hands to slide forward, fingers spread nice and wide, maybe shifting those hips from side to side. And then drawing the shoulders away from the ears, feeling each of our fingers connecting with the mat, feeling those wrists light. And then using that core strength, shifting ourselves forward, finding a kneeling plank. So we may need to make any adjustments. Finding those wrists directly underneath the shoulders, straight line from the crown of the head all the way through those knees. Feeling the lift on the pelvic floor, that transverse abdominis engaged. And then gently shifting back into our child's pose. Inhaling and coming forward into our plank. Exhaling and sinking back. This time, let's inhale, coming forward into that plank and gently lowering ourselves for our crocodile. Holding here, we're lifting right back up, And then we can either sink back into child's or stay forward and lower a couple of times for our little yogi push-ups. And then making our way back into child's pose. Preparing to move up into our downward facing dog, spreading those fingers out wide. Again, feeling each of the fingers connecting with the mat, light through those wrists. We tuck the toes under and lift ourselves up into our inverted V. Starting to sink one heel and then the other toward the mat. Maybe turning the head from side to side. Maybe letting those hips shift a bit, letting the knee cross the midline, whatever feels good. As much as we can, getting that weight out of the wrists. So if we're noticing any rounding in the low back, by bending the knees, it allows us to shift that weight farther back. And then from here, we'll bring ourselves forward into our plank. Holding in our plank. We can always lower those knees if we'd like. And then taking it back, child's or down dog. Inhaling, coming forward into that plank, with or without the knees. Exhaling, child's or down dog. This time, coming forward into that plank and adding those little push-ups. Again, full or kneeling. Let's do one more. Making our way back. And then maybe lowering into child's, giving ourselves a break. Rotating those wrists. And now from here, glancing up at those fingers, we'll step that right foot forward. And then the left, coming into our forward fold. Bending the knees deeply, inhaling, reverse swan dive. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, swan dive, forward fold. Let's inhale and lengthen to a flat back. Exhaling and folding forward. Taking the right foot, we'll step it back into a lunge. We can stay in a full lunge or lower that knee for a kneeling lunge. Hands can stay low. Maybe they come up to the thigh, to the heart, or all the way up overhead. Relaxing through their shoulders, reaching long. Inhaling. Exhaling, releasing the hands down, stepping it back, child's or down dog. Inhaling and coming forward into our plank with or without the knees. Exhaling, hovering in our crocodile. Let's lower all the way down to the mat, finding a cobra, pausing here. We're light through those hands, so we're not pressing into them, but instead pressing into the feet, and as we do, allowing that chest to lift as much as it will. One more inhale. Exhaling, taking it back, child's or down dog. From here, let's step that left foot forward, finding our lunge. So we'll stay in a full lunge this time, planting that right foot, and then squaring those hips as we come up for warrior one. In warrior one, that right hip draws forward, left hip draws back, and that right leg is long and straight, feeling the arch of the foot lifting and energy through the back edge of the foot. Shoulders right over those hips. Arms either reaching for the sky. If we need to modify for the shoulders, maybe we bend the elbows or just bring the hands to the heart. From here, we're opening to our warrior two. So making whatever adjustments we need with the feet, engaging those glutes. And as we do, it allows us to externally rotate through those hips, reaching the fingers front to back, relaxing through those shoulders. The hips are now open toward the right side. So we've got the shoulders right over those hips. And then moving into our reverse warrior, that left hand turns palm up. We reach toward the front, and then we lengthen up and back. And that right hand can just rest on the leg. Maybe we wrap it around, relaxing through those shoulders. Gaze can be down toward the back leg, up toward the fingers. Inhaling, exhaling, releasing back to our warrior two. Just pausing and breathing. At any point, we can back off with the legs and we just come back to it. And then from here, let's windmill those arms around, finding our lunge. But this time we're going to walk around toward the right side of that mat. Coming into our standing straddle, we're bringing the heels slightly farther out than the toes, coming up onto fingertips, keeping as much of a bend in the knees as we need. Inhaling here, and then as we exhale, sinking down. Feeling the length through the backs of the legs. Maybe starting to feel that stretch through the outer edge of the calves. Letting the head and neck relax. And then coming back up onto fingertips. And we're going to walk around to the other side of the mat. Finding ourselves in a lunge, full or kneeling. Low or high, and we can keep the fingers down, maybe bring the hands to the thigh, to the heart, or all the way up overhead. Feeling that opening through the front of that thigh, through that hip flexor. Inhaling, exhaling, and releasing the hands down, stepping back. Finding our child's or our down dog, your choice. With our next inhale, coming forward into a plank, full or kneeling. Exhaling and lowering to our crocodile, again with or without the knees. Lowering for our back bend, either staying in our cobra or maybe straightening the arms. Letting those knees, letting those hips lift up off the mat for our upward facing dog. Relaxing through that neck. Shoulders rolling back. Inhaling. Exhaling, taking it back either to our child or finding that downward facing dog. And with an inhale, we'll step the right foot forward, finding our lunge. This time planting the left foot, squaring the hips as we come up, finding warrior one on the other side. Again, as we square the hips, we draw that left hip forward, right hip back, shoulders over the hips, and then depending on our neck and shoulders, hands can be to the heart, maybe opening cactus arms, or maybe reaching all the way up. And as we're ready, opening to warrior two. So adjusting the feet, engaging those glutes, letting that front knee open toward the pinky toe side of the foot. Reaching the arms front to back, gazing out over the fingers of that right hand. From here, preparing for reverse warrior, right hand turns palm up, reaching forward, keeping that knee bent as we lift up and back for reverse warrior. And that left hand can rest on the leg. Maybe it wraps around the waist. Gaze down toward the foot or up toward the hand. Inhaling, exhaling, releasing back to our warrior two. And then we'll windmill those arms around, finding our lunge, and then walking around to our standing straddle. So adjusting the width of those feet, just like before, coming up onto fingertips. This time we'll stay here, taking your left hand right on the floor underneath the nose, and then your right arm opens to the sky. Finding the length through the spine, holding here in our twist. One more inhale. Exhaling, releasing down, switching hands. Right hand now comes down. Left arm reaches for the sky. Long through that spine. Inhaling, exhaling, releasing down. From here, let's let the heels turn in slightly. We'll bend the knees deeply. Inhaling, reverse swan dive. Exhaling, hands to the heart. Stepping the feet back in to our mountain pose. Preparing for a little bit of balance work. So if you know you need some extra support, maybe finding a wall. Sometimes even just stepping off of the mat can help with the balance. So reestablishing our base, finding ourselves strong and stable in that mountain. Inhaling and reaching the arms up. Exhaling, hands to the heart, weight to your right. Starting with our tree pose. So in our tree, we can bring the toes to the mat and the heel above the ankle. And if that challenges our balance, we stay here. If we'd like, we can start to bring that foot up above the ankle, below the knee, maybe up above the knee. Just choosing that point that challenges our balance today. And then from here, hands can stay to the heart, or we allow the arms to reach for the sky. So remembering for our balance, we find a focal point, something that's not moving. And that can help. Really lengthening through that standing leg. So we have a tendency to let that hip want to sink to the side. So finding that length, holding here. One more inhale. Exhaling, hands to the heart, stepping back into our mountain pose. Reestablishing our base, maybe shaking it out a bit. And then inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, hands to the heart, weight to the left side. And then finding our tree. Either keeping the foot to the mat or bringing it up. Hands can stay to the heart or reach all the way out long. Finding that focal point. Just holding strong and steady. And if we lose our balance, no worries. We just come back to it. Inhaling, exhaling, and releasing. So we'll work our way back down to the mat, standing up tall, inhaling and reaching the arms up. Exhaling, swan dive, forward fold. Let's lower down onto one knee and then the other. And if we need a little bit of padding for the knees, we can actually double up the mat. If we're down to the side, we can just fold it back this way. So whatever we need. We're bringing ourselves up, making fists, bringing them to the base of the back on either side of the spine, shoulders rolling back, that belly button drawing in toward the spine, and our gaze can stay forward. Maybe it starts to come up. Maybe we come back a little bit, but we always want to keep space in the back of the neck. So making sure we can swallow, and that lets us know if we've gone a little bit too far. And if we can't, we just lift up a little. And then slowly releasing. And we'll come into a cat, rounding that back. A nice gentle counter pose. And then slowly releasing into our cow. Then finding all fours. We'll have a seat. And let's go ahead and make our way down onto our backs. So making sure we've got some space behind us on the mat. We can use that core strength to lower us down. Or if we'd rather, if we want a little more support, we just turn to the side and slowly lower. So once we find ourselves on our back, let's draw those knees into the chest. Gently rocking from side to side. Maybe making some circles. And going the other way. Let's keep the right knee in and place the left foot flat on the mat. Taking the right ankle, crossing it over that left knee. Reaching around behind that left knee and drawing the leg in toward us. Coming into our figure four. Both feet are flexed. And we're gently encouraging that knee to press forward. And it may feel good to shift a little bit. Wherever we feel any tightness, allowing the inhale to find that tight spot and letting the exhale carry it away. One more inhale here. As we exhale, placing that left foot back down to the floor, allowing the arms to open in a T shape, relaxing those shoulders, keeping the legs just like they are, and simply tilting that left knee over to the floor so the right foot touches down. And again, engaging through that hip, letting that knee press forward. Turning and looking over the right shoulder if that feels comfortable. Just holding here and breathing. Slowly coming back to center. Placing the right foot down. Crossing the left ankle over the right knee and wrapping the hands around behind that right knee, drawing it in. Flexing both feet, engaging that left hip, encouraging that knee to press forward. And just pausing here in our figure four. Breathing into any tightness, any resistance we may be feeling. One more inhale. Exhaling, releasing that right foot down. Keeping the legs right where they are. Arms come out in a T shape. Relaxing shoulders away from the ears. Inhaling. Exhaling and taking that right knee over to the floor. Left foot touches down. Gently pressing that left knee forward. Turning and looking over that left shoulder if we'd like. Slowly coming back to center. We'll place both feet flat on the floor, hips width, and then relaxing the arms down by our sides. Feet are a comfortable distance away from the body, so not too close, not too far, depends on what feels good. Preparing to move up into a bridge. From here, tucking the tailbone under, peeling the hips up off the mat. So we can stay here in our bridge. If we'd rather, we can walk those shoulders underneath us a little bit more, coming into a chest expansion. If wheel is part of our practice, feeling free to come into it now. And allowing those legs to continue to point straight ahead, those knees. So noticing if the knees are wanting to splay out or come inward. And using those muscles to keep them nice and even, nice and parallel. Hips are lifting, shoulders relaxing. One more inhale here. As we exhale, slowly lowering down, once again hugging the knees into the chest, gently rocking. And placing one foot and then the other down on the mat. Allowing the arms to come a comfortable distance away from the body as we come into a reclining butterfly. Soles of the feet together, knees apart, relaxing through those shoulders and pausing here. And then preparing to come into our final relaxation. So we can stay in that reclined butterfly. Maybe we want to bring the feet flat on the floor with the knees bent. We can walk the feet a little bit wider, letting those knees come in toward one another. Or maybe we extend the legs out long on the mat, letting the toes turn out. Wherever we are, palms turn up. Shoulders roll back, coming to a comfortable place for our final few minutes of our practice. Allowing our focus to be on that breath. Simply watching as the breath flows in and back out. As any other thoughts come into our mind, acknowledging them, I know you're there, and then setting them aside for another time, another place, bringing that focus back to the breath. Slowly reawakening the body, moving fingers and toes, arms and legs, gently turning the head from side to side. And as we're ready, slowly rolling to one side and just pausing, letting the head rest on the outstretched arm, body adjusting to the movement. And then gently pressing ourselves up, coming into easy seated pose, sitting tall, eyes closed, hands resting on our knees, breathing here. And we'll take one last deep breath in together, inhaling, sweeping the arms to the sky. Exhaling, hands to heart center. And the light in me honors the light in you as we say namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day.